everybody, this is Elissa from Ink Arts and Crafts, and today we are here for a WIP and chat. And WIP stands for Work in Progress Chat. Well, we're going to sit here, we're going to chat a little bit about the week, what I've been up to, plans, diamond painting things, random stuff. You never know what I'm going to talk about. It's very stream of consciousness. So before we get into it, I'm going to go over the tools that I'm using. I can't show the wheat wax that I'm using because I'm using it because I have, there's like a subtle difference in the heights of my desks. It's more so that I have like the canvas roller that's hooked onto the edge of my desk, so my tripod sits on top of it, so I have to level it, and I'm leveling it by using the wheat wax that I'm using. But for my wax, I am using wheat wax. I am not using Cozy Cabin wheat wax. I am using a different scent of wheat wax. But here is another, like an example. Yeah, so as you can see, this is an example of the wheat wax that I'm using, and you can see my little scrape marks. Oh yes, I just realized. Well, apparently I am now using this wheat wax, Cozy Cabin, because I completely, I just reset. I always like to change out my pens for Saturdays. So I have so many pens that the only way to like go through them all is to change them on a regular basis. So I usually have an 8 placer, a 10 placer, and a 12 placer. Prepared and ready to go. And I believe all 3 of these pens today are from Lace and Lathe Works. I know the one that you just saw, the kind of like the orangish toned one. This one right here is definitely from Lace and Lathe Works because that was a custom that I had done. And then these 2 I got from a friend, and I do not remember, I don't think she ever said where she got them from. I believe, I'm looking at like the style of them, and they very much remind me of a Lace Works because of like the little bamboo points. Like that to me says that it's the same pen. I do really like the more elongated grip of the ones that I got from her as opposed to the one that I had gotten as a custom. Oh look, it turns inside its little thing. But I like to scrape the top for my my wax, and then I can kind of like take the excess off. But that's how I load that. I believe my 12 placer and my 10 placer already have putty, so I don't need to replace the putty. I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm all snuffy nosed right now. It's morning. I'm always a little bit more snuffy in the mornings, but I went to a movie last night and I was like really craving mozzarella sticks, so I got mozzarella sticks at the movie. So of course I'm paying the price for it. That's an old putty. I've got to remove that. So the 10 placer and the 12 placer, I have putty that I just recently, we'll have to see. Yeah, like I just changed that putty last night. So we're still good on those ones putty wise for the 10 and 12 placer. But I do need to change out the 8 placer because that one is a tip that I have no idea how old this putty is. So basically to change out the putty, I use, yeah, I can tell how old it is just by how it does. I stick the tweezers in and I just like scrape it out. And then I do that. Yeah, this one is an old enough putty that it's like kind of in that like desiccated dry stage where it's all crumbly. For my putty, I am using my Randa's Crafty Corner Frozen Raspberry Lemonade Scented Putty. So that's the putty that I am using. Let me go ahead and stock my putty onto my multi-placer. I'd like to stab straight down like this, just do a lot of force. I stab straight down and then pull it out, and then I usually have to do twice. That one I grab to get it like the depth that I need because these are such deep wells for these multi-placers. These are the Diamond Art Club multi-placers. I find that for me they work the best, and I feel like I have the best control, especially when I'm working on like a square diamond painting. I feel like I get the best placement off of these ones. So we now have a freshly puttied pen. All right, what else am I using today beyond our Randa's Crafty Corner putty, which Randa is one of my sponsors for the event, and wheat wax is also one of my sponsors for the event, which in case you didn't know, we have the Lunar New Year DP along going on. Shire Shenanigans is also another sponsor, and this is our event minder. It's Lunar New Year DP along 2026 because it's Year of the Horse. And in case you weren't tracking, like my mom actually created the artwork with the mountain and the sun and then the horse. My mom actually created the artwork for this, and then Nicole over at Shire Shenanigans created the cover minder. The other cover minder I'm using is another collaboration. This one is between Shire Shenanigans and Nicole. She created the cover minder itself, and then Elvira over at Diamond Delights turned it into a diamond painting cover minder. So you actually had to do the diamond, put the diamonds on and everything yourself. It's super cool. Love it. I think those are like the coolest thing ever. So anyways, those are those tools. And then I am using my Yellow Dog Designs trays like I always do. I've found that I really don't use more than just like the 2 trays. So that's what I'm using. And then I'm also using, I've also used on here special drills from another one of my sponsors, which is DP with Sparklers. And today we will be, I've already drawn the names, and I'll be showing those names kind of in the middle-ish of the video for the winners from last year, or last week's drawing. Last week's prize that I announced then is a $15 gift card to DP with Sparklers, and we have 2 winners for that. So I will be announcing those names today. And those winners, you'll just have to make sure that you email Tima over at DP with Sparklers. I will send you guys an email a little bit later today, but if you are the winner, make sure you email Tima saying that you are the winner. I have already emailed her the names, so if you were not the winner, obviously your name and email were not sent to her. So the canvas that I am working on, I will show this in a minute. I'm doing just a background right now, and the special drills. So I created this grid mark because I wanted something a little bit different. I know I get a little carried away with shoveling things. I wanted something a little different rather than just pure 310 color blocking. For this, I love my color blocking, but not copious amounts of 310. So as you can see, this is what it looks like. I could have gone with a color that was a little closer, a little darker of a gray, or even just done a 310 dust drill. But I ended up, I was like, you know what, I have a lot of specials. I need to use the ones that I already have in my hoard. So I just pulled out the specials I already had, which I had a ton of this 413 pixie dust. And I have probably like 5 or 6 little jars, because I keep them all in jars. Here, I'll show you. So here is my fairy dust 413, which it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I had 7 little jars of it, and I used 1.5 jars for the background that I created on this. So we're gonna continue working on the background. I kind of want to do like the 310 background first, and then once the background is done, then I have some plans where I want to go in and add some enhancements to portions on the cat. So that I will do once I finish the background. I kind of want to do the background first, and then I can decide what I want to do enhancement wise for the flowers and the fish on our cat. So now I'm going to turn the overhead off, and then we are going to turn the light pad back on, just because I like to work with a light pad, and we're going to get into it so you guys can see. There we go. All right, so you can see I started using like 2 different trays as I was, or 2 different, I kind of did it in sections. So instead of doing all of one section, which I had been doing over here, I kind of got to the point yesterday as I was working on this that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just start with like what I can with the 8 placer, and then as I max out that, then I can move over to like the 12 placer. So that's what I was doing on this one. It's one of those things where I'm like, I felt like I needed to do something to mix it up a little bit rather than just going all straight through. And I was finding that I really needed to do a lot of, basically, so you can see here, I'll do just like that. And like for some of these sections, I was finding that I needed to do like every other column, which, you know, is fine for like a large area of color blocking. I commonly have to do that to maintain good spacing as I'm working. So that's kind of how I worked on this. I basically was like, let me go ahead and just start placing to lay the design in the background, which I did first. I literally just basically started placing these dust drills down in a diagonal check. I had to single place every single one of these. They were all like, well, I put them on my here, and then I would do like place, 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 place to do it. But I basically had to individually place every single one of these checked marked ones in the background there. Which was definitely tedious, but it paid off. I think it looks kind of cool. And it definitely breaks up the background, so it's not just pure 310 for the background, which I like that aspect of it. So I did, and then I basically was like, okay, I've done one diagonal. Now let me pick how big I want the diagonal to be. And for this size background, it ended up being I think it's like 12, there's 12 in between, or no, it's like from here to here is 13. So from there to there is 13, and that's the size that looked good as I was working. I was like, okay, that looks good. Now let me count how many drills I placed and continue that pattern all the way around. And that's what I did. So I like how it turned out. I think it turned out excellent for that. I could have gone with a darker color, like I said, that was a little closer to 310, but I was just working off of what I already had in my hoard rather than trying to, purchase more drills, because I've already purchased a bunch of special drills recently, and I need to use some of the specials that I have before I go purchasing more. So that was kind of like my reasoning for that. I'm like, it's close enough. I think it'll look cool. It'll still add to the painting, and it's still like, not a complete pure color blocking background now. So that's what I did. I do have to say the 310 on this canvas are definitely, I've had this long enough that the 310 are the 20 faceted drills. I do not like the 20 faceted drills, which makes me super happy that Diamond Art Club is moving away from them and are going with 15 faceted drills, which are going to be a little bit flatter on top, because these 20 faceted drills, they're so pokey when I try to like run my hand over it. It's a texture thing. I'm not a fan of that texture. I know some people love it. I am not one of those that enjoys it. They're super pokey, like uncomfortably pokey, and I run my hands over the drills to find any that need popped down on a regular basis. So now if I have something that's super pokey, it's tricky to do that. So anywho, that's what I'm working on. And I got distracted. I was supposed to be talking about what WIP I'm actually working on. So this right here is Katana. I don't even know how I got distracted from that. So I never even finished saying what canvas I was working on. So this is Katana. You can see right here, there's the image, and here is our little sticker sheet. The artist is Vincent Trinidad. It's from Diamond Art Club. It's a square drill canvas. It's a little one. It's only 43 by 56, so it's a lovely little fun size. But because it's so much, I find that my color blocking with squares is so much slower. And then, of course, adding the design in makes it slower as well. So that is actually what I am working on for my WIP, because I completely forgot to mention that. So I hope everybody is having a wonderful week, and you guys have had a great time. I know I'm trying to think of it. Yeah, so this week was a very busy, productive day or week at work. I was really impressed with how much I actually got done. Like some of the days, like a couple of the days, I was like, I do not feel like working. So I saw my patients, and then I was like a bit lazy slob and and I kept finding other things to do instead of actually doing all of the work that I really need to do. So that was kind of like one of those things where I was like, yeah, just not feeling it. I don't want to work. Which, I still had to work, but I had so many projects that I needed to work on, and I did not work on nearly as many of them as I should have, until like Friday. I apparently got the I'm ready to be productive bug on Friday and got a lot done on Friday. But anyways, so Monday was a meeting day. I had 2 meetings on Monday because it's the first Monday of the month. I had a meeting for the leadership from both of the commands that, my command that I work for, and then the command that we're housed with, that we kind of pseudo work for. So when I see patients, I fall underneath the second command. My regular administrative work and other stuff that I do falls underneath my primary command, but when I see patients, that mission is under a different command. So I had so I had meetings with that I had to do on Monday for both of those, and then I think I had another meeting on Monday afternoon. So I ended up having 3 meetings on Monday, which doesn't seem like a lot, but I don't necessarily do a ton of. Well, I take that back. I actually do go to a ton of meetings with the positions that I hold. But yeah, so we had the meetings on Monday, and that went well, and then on Tuesday, I went down to our National Guard base. It's about an hour away from me. Away from me is a National Guard base. We went down there with my commanding officer and our command master chief. So the 3 of us went down there to watch an exercise that they were doing. And we watched the exercise and kind of met with some of the medical leadership and everything that was taking part in this exercise, and talked with them because we want to try to collaborate and do stuff between us. So we met, we were there to kind of as we were the DVs or distinguished visitors to watch this exercise going down. And it was yeah, it was really cool being able to like see it and see the capabilities that they have there and everything else. That was definitely really cool. So now I have more work that I have to do to kind of like help set up coordination between the two of us. But that was super cool. It also made me a greater appreciation for the patients that I have that are driving from that base to come see me for appointments, because, you know, it's like a solid, you know, hour or so drive away. So it's not just oh, hey, let me jump in the car and go to my physical therapy appointment. It's like, okay, this is going to take like an entire morning or an entire afternoon because of how far away it is. And it's like, with no traffic, it took an hour to get there. So I'm like, if there's traffic, I can imagine it being significantly worse. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'm definitely a greater appreciation for it, because I always pick where I live based off of, you know, like, okay, where do I work? All right, now I need to make sure that I stay within X distance of where I work for where I live, because I'm that person that doesn't want to be like stuck in traffic all day. So I try to go like against main traffic patterns, which is something that I highly recommend. So I do that in Hawaii. Like, some people, there can be some bad traffic in Hawaii because, I mean, there's only like a couple highways that we have. And, you know, people work in certain areas of the island. So, you know, you have like the certain directions where the traffic is worse. But I managed to, you know, get an idea of the traffic patterns and then be like, okay, I work here. If I want to avoid traffic, I need to live here, which I managed to do that. And I never had traffic going to or from work, which was always fabulous, especially, you know, being in Hawaii, which means that I could live a little further away. I ended up living like 30 minutes away from work, which is kind of like the farthest I've ever actually lived from work. But yeah, I'm that person that has been known to actually, like when I lived in California the first time, I ended up actually moving from my first apartment. It was twofold why I moved. Part one was the company that owned the apartment complex that I was living in had sold it, and the new ownership was going to be raising the rent prices for everybody. And I'm like, okay, well, it was already, when I rented it that first year, it was already kind of like at the peak top of what I could kind of like, what was within my housing allowance. So when they were going to raise the rent by like another $300 or $400, I'm like, yeah, we're not going to do that. I was like, I kind of looked into it and I was like, if I were to move, this is what it would cost me to move, because I still had a baby grand piano at the time. So I was going to have to pay somebody to move the baby grand piano. And then I'm like, I'm that person that hates asking coworkers for help. So I was like, and then I'm going to have to pay, like, I'll pack everything myself, but I'm going to have to pay people to come in and like haul the stuff and like load the truck and move it and unload it, because I am not about to do all of that myself. So I ended up moving to a different apartment that was a couple $100 cheaper than the one that I lived in initially. And when I had rented that first apartment, I didn't pay attention to traffic patterns. So with absolutely zero traffic, my commute to work back then was only like 17, 18 minutes with no traffic. So you're like, oh yeah, that's awesome. But it could take me like 40 minutes to get home from work because I had to deal with traffic on the way home. I usually didn't have traffic on the way to work, but I definitely had traffic on the way home. And it was like, especially when I know exactly how long it took to get to work, I'm like, there's no reason for it to be this ridiculous on the way home from work. So the new place that I moved to had a much improved traffic pattern. Besides being cheaper, it was a townhouse instead of like an apartment, but it ended up being a couple $100 cheaper than the original price, which was significantly cheaper than what I would have been paying when they hiked the rent up at the old place. And it was a little bit closer. So with no traffic, it took me 12 minutes to get to the hospital. And then at the end of the day, with traffic on the way home, because nothing is traffic free in San Diego, but on the way home at the end of the day, it ended up being it only added like a couple minutes with traffic. So it was like 15 to 18 minutes tops. So yeah, like I strongly recommend, if you're ever going to move somewhere and you are like looking for somewhere to live, study the traffic patterns and learn the traffic patterns, because that's something that really impacted my quality of life. Just in general, I was so much happier when I didn't have to commute through all of that traffic. So if possible, I would recommend studying those traffic patterns and getting an idea for where you could potentially live to cut down on some of the worst traffic between where you want to live and where you work. So if all possible, I highly recommend doing that, because that was a game changer for me. And now that's something that I try to do everywhere that I live. So when I first moved out here to Florida, I was originally looking at living somewhere that was kind of south of base, because I kind of like on the phone or on the computer, it seemed like the perfect area to live. It was like, could get house prices were not super bad. So it was like a neighborhood that was not too bad. But then as I like looked into it, I was like, ooh, dang, that's going to be some like gnarly traffic on my way home from work every day. So then I started looking kind of northwest of the base instead. And now I like the worst traffic I get in the morning is turning at the light, turning onto base. That's the only time that I have traffic. But I mean, that's gate traffic, which really has more to do with what time that's because everybody's getting in, and it takes time to, scan everybody's ID and all of that stuff. So the gates are always slow. So that I don't really count, because that would be slow regardless of which direction you were approaching the gates. That's the only time that I have traffic now. Unless I'm trying to like go somewhere during like rush hour. But yeah, so I was really pleased with like finding a location that I didn't have to deal with all of that traffic for. I was very, very pleased with that. But anywho, so I don't even know how I got on the topic of traffic. I really have, oh yes, I was talking about how the exercise that I had watched. So anyways, yeah, so that was Tuesday was doing that, and then I came back, and then I had to kind of like type up my after action, kind of like, okay, what can we gain from developing a relationship with them, and what can we offer them, what can they offer us, what can we offer them, and what kind of timeline can we expect for frequency of training, that type of thing. So I had to kind of put that together and send it to my boss, which I sent that. That's why I ended up getting that typed up. She wanted it by like close of business on Monday. I think I sent it to her Friday afternoon. Because it's kind of one of those things where you should never wait until the last minute to send stuff like that. You really ideally do not want to wait until the last minute. It's always better to be like a little bit early than it is to wait and be like, okay, the deadline is Monday at 3. Let me send this Monday at 2:30. No, I would rather send it a little bit earlier. It just looks better overall if you can get it done and sent ahead of time prior to the deadline somebody's giving you. So yeah, that was one of the things that I worked on Friday. Wednesday was a very heavy, meeting day. I want to say I had a good 4 meetings that I sat in on Wednesday. So that was something that definitely took up a good chunk of time with all the meetings that I was in. Some of them were VTCs, that type of thing, or like Teams meetings. But yeah, I definitely had a lot of meetings to sit in on Wednesday. And that was basically what my day consisted of, was doing those meetings. And then that was Wednesday. Thursday was, I only had like an afternoon meeting on Thursday, so that wasn't too bad. So I was pleased about that aspect, just that afternoon meeting, which I really don't mind meetings. If I loathed meetings and didn't want to be in them, I would not have the positions that I have. I would just be like, okay, I don't care. Because if you want to promote and do stuff, you have to, accept the positions that are going to force you to, those leadership positions, and those leadership positions typically entail sitting in meetings. So that was kind of one of those things where I'm like, if I want to be in a meeting, or if I don't want to be in meetings, well, then you have to decide, do you want to just stick with patient care and potentially not promote? Or do you want to try to promote and be in those leadership positions, and then you're going to be stuck with meetings? So I was just like, yeah, I don't mind the meetings. They're not bad at all. So anywho, that was really a lot of what I had done this week were the meetings. And then Friday, like I said, I got a ton of stuff done. I set up a bunch of meetings for one of the extra duties that I have. I basically am in charge of. We have what are called career development boards. So a career development board is basically where you sit down where like you as an individual sit down and you have, at least on the officer side of the house, you have 3 people that are at least 1 rank above you. So like if you're, like for me as a lieutenant commander, I would have to have, my board members would have to be O5s, commanders, or captains. So they would have to be that grade or so higher than me in order to have them on the board. And basically they are reviewing your they're reviewing your record. So like they look at your basically your performance appraisals, of which we call a fitness report. They look at those. They look at, okay, this is your the stuff that you've done. These are the extra collateral duties that you have. These are what your goals are. Is there anything missing in your record? And they kind of like review all of that. They go through that process. They review it all and then give you recommendations and say, okay, this is what we would suggest doing. You're doing good in this area. You need to work on that. Basically, it's something to help kind of like develop your career. And it's really good to have people outside of like your direct leadership that can like look over your record and give it that kind of that impartial look, because they're not like one of your supervisors. So they don't really have the buy-in as far as like, in working with you on a daily basis to like your immediate leadership does. So it's kind of one of those things where I like that aspect of it, because it gives that very like impartial, okay, let's review what you're doing, how you're doing, all of that. We're almost done with our random small placement until I'm going to go to this section, and then I will come back with the larger one to fill that in. So yeah, so I like the career development boards. We do them for, I'm in charge of the ones for the Medical Service Corps officers. So I'm coordinating them. I had like 7 people, 6, no, I think it was 3, 6, 8. So I had 8 junior officers that I scheduled CDBs for. I had to first, say, okay, like plan out when they would be available, and kind of deconflict that. So, okay, these are when the availability time slots. And now that I had that done, I can get them scheduled. And then I also have to schedule the 3 people that have to sit on every board, the leadership that has to sit on the board for them to kind of do their board for them. So that's something that, it's a lot of coordination and scheduling of stuff, but I was working on that all afternoon on Friday, really. Made progress on that. I got some other things done. Worked on an end of tour award for one of my sailors who's going to be leaving soon. So I got that done and submitted and everything. So I was really proud with the progress that I made at work. And then I didn't do anything really like during the week. I could have done some stuff. Oh, I did go on, Wednesday night. On Wednesday night, I did go to Michael's to pick up, I needed some floss for a cross-stitch project I'm doing. Because it was like 13 colors and I had 3 of the 13 colors. And if I'm going to make the effort to go to a store and buy floss for a project, I'm not going to just buy the floss that I need for the one project, because I'm like, going to Michael's, taking that extra time to do that, going there and all of that, to me isn't worth it just for like 10 colors. So I was like, I needed to pick out a couple different ones and buy the floss for a few different ones. So that way I can, usually I'll buy like 30 colors, 30 things of floss instead. All right. So this is the perfect time for us to break, and we're going to showcase the winners from last week's video. And both of these winners, you'll see their names you'll see their YouTube channel or YouTube handle popping up on the screen here. Both of those names are for our current winners for the DP with Sparklers $15 gift cards. So if you are one of those 2 people, make sure that you reach out and email Tima over at DP with Sparklers. I will also send you guys an email with the email address that you should be reaching out to, and let her know that you were one of the winners from the Lunar New Year DP along. and she will get you guys your gift cards for her website. So yay. I'm excited for you guys because as you guys know, I love blinging things up. So far, I've literally added one enhancement to this canvas, but that's one of the things that I love is you can do as much or as little as you want. So you could very well, if you're doing something like this, you could be like, I just need that one color and just do the background with that one color. You could be like, no, I want more, and you know, add bling to like the details, which is what I'm going to do once I finish the background. So there's a lot of like versatility with enhancing things, and I love it. I find it so much fun. You can also buy, like, if you don't want to do the work yourself to enhance, then you can also do the use the enhancement sets that they've already developed, and you can do it that way. But anyways, that are our winners. So congratulations to the two of you. And then we need to come up with what we're going to be doing as far as our word for the comment for this next video. So our prizes for this next video, our prizes for this week, thankful to our awesome sponsors. So for this next week, we are going to draw a washi tape pack. For one winner gets a washi tape pack, and this is going to be a pack of 4 washi tapes. And you actually get to, and it was like, I could have either picked them for you or you can pick them yourself. So I decided to make it so where you could go ahead and pick them out yourself. And this will be from Waterbugs Garden over on Etsy. So they are my favorite washi shop. I like the washi options there better than some of the other more common washi tape companies. I know I tend to use this simplistic pattern here. That's like the only one I use from the other company. But when we talk about the washis that I have from Waterbugs Garden, oh my goodness, you guys, like, I'm just going to pull out a couple of the washis right here. So these are like 3 of the many washis that I have from Waterbugs Garden. So they're usually very like high quality ones, usually coming from like Japanese brands. So this one right here, I think is super pretty if it'll focus on it. I love the gold foil on it, and it's got those florals to it. So you've got the big flowers on it. And then we have this one as a cherry blossom one. This one has some fish on it, the goldfish on it. So I've got a painting in mind to use that for. So a lot of times I'll buy like specific ones for specific paintings. But I have so many from Waterbugs Garden in my hoard. As well, I love this one right here. I think that one is really pretty. And here is another one with the floral pattern to it. So I have tons of washis from Waterbugs Garden, and they are fantastic, excellent quality, marvelous ones. So I love them, and huge shout out to them for being one of the sponsors. And then our other prize that we're going to do is we're going to have 3 people will be winners next week. One winner will get the washi tape, Waterbugs Garden, and then the other 2 winners will get a thing of our custom wax, which I don't have in hand yet. So the wax winners, you guys will get your prize at the end of the event. Waterbugs Garden, I'll send you the information. You'll be able to and then give your name and everything to the shop owner, and you'll be able to pick your washis as soon as possible. But the other winners, you guys are gonna have to wait until the end of the event, which is when I ship out all of the prizes. So that is, I think, the conclusion of our regular, I need to give you guys a word to actually put in the comments. Oh my goodness. We're going to use the word koi, because there's 2 koi fish on here. So we're going to use the word koi, K-O-I. Actually, no, let's do fish, because koi is such a specific word. So let's do fish. We're going to use fish as the word. I don't know why I'm trying to take care of the 310. I need to pull out a different pen, but that's it. So to be eligible for one of the 3 prizes we're going to draw next week, which will be washi tape, and then 2 wax winners, you need to use the word fish in a sentence in the comments below, because again, I've got these cute little koi fish on there. So now I am going to, let's see, I need to go to, I have some sticky on my desk. So now we need to fill in all of this 310. It looks kind of cool just like that with the pattern that it created from the grid line. So now I'm going to go up and we're going to use our 12 placer, unless I get tired of using it and decide to move down to the 10. So we're going to work on that. So I know it's been a lot. So now, that was through Wednesday. I went to Michael's on Wednesday, and I definitely walked out of the store with a whole lot more than what I was, planning for, because I was like, oh, I need X items, and I ended up getting those. But then I found that Make Market sells ABs, so I picked up some special, they had like 2 special drill packs. So I picked up and they also had some metallics, but I already have all of those metallics, so I was like, meh. So, and they're in round drills, so really only good for the round drill lovers, at least at my Michael's. So I picked up their special drill packs because I was like, I need to try out their ABs and, to see what I think of the quality of their special drills. So picked up those, and then I also picked up like a, one of the, what is it called? It's a scroll frame. They had like, I had a couple coupons and everything, so I got a scroll frame for cross stitching, because I have what's called a long dog, which is basically a single color big cross stitch project, and I want to work on this long dog that I have, because I have the fabric and I have the flosser, the thread for it, but I had not gotten around to, I don't have the, I didn't have the, sorry, I'm trying to multi-place and see, I have to pop those down. I didn't have a frame for it to kind of like work on it, and it's way too much fabric for it to be sitting in like one of my regular Nurge frames that I have. So that was something that I was like, I need to do that so that way I can actually start it. Have I started it since then? No, because I've got 2 other projects I'm working on, and I have like a stitch along that I'm doing that that's on like this even weave material, and I'm so tempted to be like, I'm not enjoying it on this fabric, but I already have the fabric. I've already put in the work to do like, it's a pattern that releases a segment every 2 weeks. I've already completed the first segment, and I'm halfway done with the second one. There's 3 that have been released, so I really need to catch up on that before, that's gonna be one of the things, one of my goals for this weekend is gonna be to try to catch up on that stitch along, so I'm up to date, because the patterns release every other Wednesday, and the next section will release this Wednesday, and I really don't want to get super far behind, so I need to work on that. But have I actually, so I walked out of Michael's spending a whole lot more money than I was planning on spending, which I feel like is kind of a standard thing when you go to a crafting store. You can't leave with, I find it very hard to leave with just, X items that I planned for. I always find myself leaving with a little bit more than I was expecting. But yeah, that was my, Wednesday. Thursday was just, work and everything else. Friday, oh, that's got a little piece on it, so we need to remove that drill. That drill needs to go, because it had a tab on it. So Friday, I actually went to, it's called the Stray Kids Dominate Experience. So basically, Stray Kids is one of the K-pop bands that I love, and I went to their concerts last year. So I went to their concert in Atlanta, and I went to their concert in Orlando last year, so the 2 concerts. And it was amazing, and that was their Dominate World Tour. Well, they had a movie that's kind of like one of those limited showings and only really for a short period of time. But they put together a movie from the concert, which includes like the majority of the concert, which is great for people that like don't have an opportunity to go to the concert because you just go see the movie. But also at the same time, it has extra behind the scenes kind of stuff as well. So the movie was out this weekend, so I went to the movie last night, and which was really good because it brought back like a lot of the concert, because I feel like I was like, oh my goodness, did they play that song at my concert? Because I think the filming was from the SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, the Inglewood area. So, I was like, I believe they played the exact same set list for all 3 concerts, the 2 that I went to and that one as well. I think they were all the same set list, but at the same time, when you're actually at the concert, it's like you end up in like this it felt a totally different feel totally different feel. But it was pretty cool watching the movie and seeing portions of it and everything else. So I enjoyed that. But that was what I did last night. And there was a group of girls they're probably like middle school, maybe high schoolers, probably high schoolers. But they were young. Bottom line, they were young. They were sitting a few rows behind me, and they were basically like, it was like they were actually at the concert, because anytime one of like the members did something, they would like start the ridiculous screaming, and I'm just like, oh, good grief, it's a movie, you guys. They brought their light sticks with them to the concert, so they're like waving to the movie, so they're waving their light sticks around in the movie theater behind them. And then there was like at the very end, like the last song was basically like they actually got up and like were dancing down in like that little mid-ground area between the lowest level of seats and then like basically the handicap aisle. They were like dancing right there, and I'm just like, oh, good grief, they are so extra. I think it's because I had gone to the concert, but like what also cracked me up, maybe I'm just like callous or something, I don't know. I feel like I'm really good at like at least exuding empathy towards patients, or at least acting like I'm empathetic. But the girl next to me, every time they're in like the sections where each of the members would kind of like talk a little bit about like themselves and how much like this concert tour, like this world tour meant to them in that aspect. They would come on screen and talk about that. This girl next to me would like start sobbing, and I'm just like, why are you crying? I'm thinking to myself, why are you crying? It's like literally the band members are just talking a little bit about themselves and, you know, things like that. And I'm like, it's not something to like cry about. I'm just like, oh my gosh, maybe I don't get it. Maybe I just am like that person that's just a little callous on things, but I'm just like, I really don't get it. But I'm also that person that, you know, when people start freaking out when, you know, their person that they like to see comes out on stage or whatnot, and they start screaming voraciously and like, or it's like, oh my goodness, they looked my way. And I'm just like, you're literally like one of millions of fans that they will see over the course of their tour series. Like, they will not remember you. Yes, they are going to like smile in your direction and all of that stuff, but I mean, they're also just people as well. I'm like, it's like they're literally like the celebrities and things like, I've never been one to follow like celebrity anything really, because I'm just like, they're celebrities, they're people, but yeah, so what? I'm like, I don't care who's dating who and what, you know, like the celebrity gossip rags, you know, that I don't even remember what all, but the magazines that used to be all the rave with all the girls in high school. I never understood that, because I was just like, who cares? Who cares? To me, I was just like, I don't care about that kind of stuff. But I know that's a lot of that is just me. And I've just never understood that. Like, I'm probably, you ask me, like, if I watch a movie and people will start raving about, like, such and such actor or actress and how much they loved them, and they loved them in this movie, but not as much in that movie. And I'm like, how do you have, like, the wherewithal to even, like, know what movies these people are in? Unless it's somebody that's, like, a super big name. If I watch a movie, I'm like, I don't know who that actor or actress is. They're an actor. They're an actress. They're doing a job. Like, I just don't get super into it like that. It's like, it's a little bit different with like the K-pop, where it's like, I know who the band members are, but I feel like that's part of K-pop, is knowing who the members of the bands and the groups are, and like having your bias or your favorite. I feel like that's just part of it, but I've also never been to like the extremes of some people. But yeah, that's just me. And just how I am in that aspect. But that was last night, which is also why you're not getting this WIP and chat first thing this morning. It's still going to go up today, but you're not getting it first thing this morning, because I was, you know, at the movie, because the movie started at like 7:30, and it's a 2.5 hour movie, but then you have to factor in, you've got all of those like ads and things and previews and whatnot at the beginnings of the movies now. So really the movie probably started at like 7:45 or so. And then, you know, it was 2.5 hours. So I didn't get out of there until like after 10 o'clock, which I was so tired. I haven't gone to like I haven't gone to a movie like that since the previous concert movie that I went to, which was G-Dragon. But yeah, so I hadn't gone to one in a hot minute. I could totally do all of this 310, but I really don't feel like it right now. I'll do that later. I'm just working on the background. I'm going to plug away at this background, which we're making progress with. We're getting there. We're getting there. I've got, once I can get like all the way over to here, I need to get up to like right here, and that's technically like the halfway mark once I get up to there. But we're making progress. We're plugging away at it. Getting there. I do have to say it's making it a little bit less tedious working with all this 310, having it broken up into this pattern. So that's something that if you have this kit in your hoard and you've been like avoiding it because of the background, I recommend, you know, breaking it up and doing like a little bit of a design on the background like this, because it was super easy to do. And I feel like it's definitely helping to break up the, like normally I love my color blocking, but like 310 is just notoriously a pain in the butt to color block. I'm not a fan of the 310 color blocking. That's not something I really care for, because it's like it's so dark, it's hard to see for good alignment and spacing and all of that. So that's probably my least favorite color to color block. I would rather color block those light colors where you see all of the gaps than do the 310 like this. And then of course this particular grid, it doesn't, like my placement is atrocious, which is why we're seeing gaps, but it's a snug enough grid that you have to place. That's why I end up doing a lot of like every other column, because if you don't, you can run into issues with your drills not wanting to go in properly and your spacing gets off and blah, 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 blah. So I find that for big sections of color blocking like this, I really need to do this every other line like this. So anywho, yeah, that's kind of been what that part has been. I did like looking back over all of, so yeah, that's the work on this. So now we're going to kind of switch gears for the last couple minutes. We only have a few minutes left of our live today, or not our live, our whip and chat today. But I do have to say that I am very pleased with how well I did for the month of January for purchases. I technically only purchased one canvas in the entire month of January, which is like mind-blowing for me. I think that's the first time I've ever actually done that. Like literally the first time I've ever gotten away with just buying one canvas in the month. So I was very proud of myself for that. I bought the Margaret Morales Yumiko, which I did an unboxing of her yesterday. I did end up getting 3 new canvases, well, technically 3 new canvases total. One of them I won't have in hand until this summer, because then my friend doesn't have to like ship it to me. I can just pick it up in person this summer, and that's the Yume that came out this month. And then the other one that I have is a Sybil Art that was gifted to me as well from a subscriber. So thank you to that lovely individual, because it is such a cute canvas. I love it to pieces. So yeah, those are the ones those are like the 3 canvases that I bought, or well, that I technically didn't, I only bought the one, but those are like the 3 canvases that I acquired this month. February, I already know is going to be a little bit more of a challenge. So I have been holding out and not buying a lot of the canvases. Like I love Geneva Bowers, but I'm like, I can hold off on purchasing a Geneva Bowers because it's going to restock. So I can hold off on it. It's going to restock. I'll be fine. My Yumeis, I'm not going to risk the potential for them being, you know, discontinued before I can purchase. So I will buy those right off. But for Geneva Bowers, I was like, okay, I can wish list those. So I've done that successfully for a few of them. But then the 2 that were released just recently, like I think it was last weekend? The 2 that were released last weekend, the one sold out immediately, and then the second one, which she was absolutely beautiful. They're both absolutely beautiful. And then the second one did not sell out immediately. That was basically, it was autumn, and it's a not super massive, but the entire background is a light tone color blocking, and it's a square drill canvas. So you're color blocking a large amount of a single color in a light tone on a square canvas. So that one, I'm like, if they're going to discontinue, I've seen them discontinue pieces like that from other artists fairly quickly. So I'm like, I have a feeling that that one, if they are going to discontinue a Geneva kit anytime soon, that would be one that I could see them discontinuing. So that was something that I'm like, okay, I was kind of on the fence. I was like, I wish I listed her, but the whole time I'm like, if I don't buy her, I have a worry that when she sells out, she will eventually be archived, is what I'm concerned about that happening, where, you know, they put them on the restock list, but then they end up archiving it instead of actually restocking it, because that's what tends to happen. So I was like, well, I'm not going to, I'll hold off. We'll see. If she starts to go low stock, then maybe I'll pick her up then. That was my thought process. And then and then they released that Miss Holly mystery this week as well. And normally I can like resist mystery kits. I only have a small number. I only have a handful of mysteries that I own. I think I have the Yume, I have the Art by Julia, I have the Jeremiah Kettner, and I want to say that those are the only 3 Diamond Art Club mystery kits that I own, are those 3. So I don't really I haven't worked on any of them yet, but those are the only 3 that I own from Diamond Art Club, I want to say. And then, but then I saw the artwork for the Miss Holly, and it's like, oh, it's such a beautiful image. It's one of them that, the first time I ever saw that image, I was just like, I need that in a diamond painting. And sure enough, it's a diamond painting. It just happens to be the mystery kit. So that was one where I'm like, okay, mysteries are a limited edition. Once they sell out, they're sold out. You're not going to be able to get it again. So I'm going to go ahead and purchase that one. And I was like, well, since I'm buying that one and I don't want to miss out on that Geneva with the color blocky background, I felt like, so I ended up buying those 2. I normally don't do the whole, well, if you buy one canvas, you've got to buy a second, so that way you get the free shipping. I don't care about that. But it was more of the, if this one was discontinued, I would regret not purchasing it. So I ended up snagging those 2. The Miss Holly mystery, and which normally I'm fine with like missing out on Miss Holly canvases, because she's got like, I feel like it's 2 different styles when you look at her work. She's got the work like that one, the work like the one that came out from her on Black Friday, and the work from like her Song of the Moon canvas. She has that style, but then she also has like all of those, all of the other ones that she has, which you'll see like some of her winter themed ones, where it's like the girl in the snow, with like the corgi is usually in there, and it's like to me it's like they're 2 completely different styles. So I never have any desire to buy those ones from Miss Holly. But then the more Asian styled ones that she'll have, like Song of the Moon, and then the one from Black Friday, those are all ones where I'm like, okay, I need those ones. So it's very, very interesting seeing an artist with a couple different distinct styles like that. But anywho, yes, so I did purchase 2 things, and I know that I am going to purchase from Diamond Delights, but that's one of the shops that I told you guys is kind of one of the shops that I'm allowing myself to purchase from. And Elvira only does a drop like every month or 2. She'll do a drop, so it's not like I'm buying a bunch of kits every single time, and a lot of times she does smaller ones and smaller projects. This month she has 6 kits that she's releasing, and they are like, they're not massive kits, so they're like a great size. She's got 6 of them. I honestly want all 6 of them. I am not allowing myself to buy all 6 kits because that's a little too much. So I'm trying to limit it down, like wheedle it down to just 2. I'm trying to debate which 2 I'm going to purchase. I know one of them I have to pick, because it's like I love some of these other ones so much. I'm like, okay, well, which one do I want of these other ones? So that's still to be determined, but I have until Friday to figure that out. But anyways, this is the progress that we have made on Katana. Let me go ahead and turn off the light so you can see. I do like the look of the background. It definitely breaks it up so it's not just like this solid 310 black background. So I do like that aspect of it. But look at that. So we made some pretty good progress. We worked kind of like from over into here to all of this, but then we filled in the edges here. So that part will go pretty quickly to finish those ones and continue on. I would ideally, we'll see how it goes, because it's kind of like one of those things, like I said, I want to finish the background. But we will see how it goes. But my goal is to finish all of this 310 background by the end of the weekend. So I want to get a little bit more of it done today and then work on it tomorrow as well. I keep getting distracted by like a cross stitch conversion that I am working, or a cross stitch pattern that I am working on. So anywho, that is all I have for you guys for today. I am going to go ahead and let you guys go. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's WIP and chat, and congratulations to our winners. And if you want to be eligible for next week's prizes, make sure you comment below. And if you have not already filled out the entry form, make sure you fill out the entry form, because if you win and you have not filled out the entry form, which will be linked down below, if you have not filled out that entry form and your name is drawn as a winner, I will be redrawing a new name, because I'm not going through the work of reaching out and finding you to get the information that I need when that's the purpose of my entry form. So if you have not filled that out, do so that way you can be eligible to win. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.